everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and one of our whatever reports. We're doing this late on a Sunday. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Are you gonna whine? You were laying there being so good. Be quiet, dog, so I don't have to kick you out. You're okay. Yeah, so we're doing this late on Sunday because I've been out of town and yeah, this is not gonna work. I was even like talking to myself to try to get the dog to be quiet. We'll see what happens. We'll give him another minute. We're doing this late on a Sunday. No D&D tonight. Hopefully D&D tomorrow night on a reschedule because of the holiday. But yeah, so we're hanging out on Memorial Day weekend, and it looks like I'm going to need just a second because I think the dog is, well, we'll see what happens. He's not being super loud. We got my man GT Key in here tailgating, as was John. What's going on? Great thumbnail. I know John's going to love anything to do with Ted Lasso for sure. Yeah, with the finale coming up this week, it seemed appropriate. So, Blue Collar Dan, what is going on? Yeah, I feel like this is probably, we'll get to that. We'll get to my thoughts on where Ted Lasso is going here in just a bit. So yeah, was out of town for a few days. We are back and we are at it. And so what are we drinking tonight? Well, we mixed up a little raspberry lemonade and bourbon. So we picked the bourbon that I like the least that I've tried by far as a way to try to get rid of some of that bottle by just dousing it with a whole bunch of lemonade. So yeah, I bought some Long Branch. It's terrible. It's awful, but it's not too bad if you drown it in lemonade. It's drinkable if you drown it in lemonade, whereas it's not drinkable otherwise. And it looks like I am going to have to kick the dog out, so just give me 1 second. All right, I was hoping he would make it, but he did not. So apologize for the little side trip here. So yeah, that was our, we're going to put our banner up. What are we drinking? Yeah, so we're drinking a little whiskey sour sort of thing. I mean, whiskey sour is basically lemonade and bourbon. It's basically what this is, but it's a little raspberry lemonade. We'll see who else pops in here. So yeah, we're hanging out on Sunday. And we're going to, go through our usual, this may be a shorter whatever report because I don't know that I have a ton to talk about, but we'll talk about a few things. So what do we got next on our usual agenda while we're waiting for a few people to pop in here? Hopefully it is a holiday weekend, so maybe nobody's going to hop in. What do we got coming up on the channel? All right. So best I saw, CBSI did not do a hot top 10 this week. I just looked at the website right this second, and yeah, they haven't done one. And of course, Tom doesn't have his video out yet, so I don't think there's going to be a cash or trash. Maybe Tom's video comes out tomorrow when I do it. We'll see how much time I got, how many other things I got going on. Tomorrow night, we're hoping to do a little D&D with the boys. That should be going on. So we did postpone for a night because it seemed to work. People had other stuff going on Sunday, so we're going to do that tomorrow night. And then the only other thing for sure I have scheduled this week, hopefully, we've our indie show is off to a very slow start as we've gotten one episode in of season 4. But hopefully we have one this week. We're going to be back talking Deadly Class, Volume 8. With Gore, Haley, and Greg, Bearded Bro, on Wednesday. Fingers crossed. So that is the plan for stuff we got coming up on the channel. Hey, Daymers, what's going on, my friend? Hope Adam is you're having a wonderful weekend, or a good Memorial Day anyway, or Memorial Day weekend, I should say. So that is what we got coming up on the channel. What did we pick up? Nothing. As you guys know, I went up to. Well, you may not know. I mentioned it last week. I planned to do. We've been planning a. Hey, Joey Baker Sevens, what is going on? Evening to you. Evening to you. Damers is doing great, which is always good to hear. I've been planning a fishing trip with my dad, my sister, and my nephew for since around this time last year is when we started planning it. We were supposed to go in August. Things happened. We were supposed to go a week ago Friday. Things happened. We tried to reschedule the August one for the fall. Didn't happen. We got it scheduled for May. Got rain, and we got winded out last week. The weather was bad. We finally did go up and get out on Friday, so that was a good time. I went, like I said, it was me, my dad, my sister, my nephew. We went up to Chicago where my sister lives. Then we went further north to Waukegan, and we met with a guy, Long Gone 3 charters, Captain Jim, and it was, we had a good time. We went after some cohos. It was actually almost, in some ways, the perfect first trip for Aiden, my nephew, because we caught enough fish to keep him entertained that he had a good time, yet we didn't it wasn't crazy. We struggled a little bit. We had one long lull during the thing, so he had to also realize that it's not just going to be constant action you go on these kind of things. So I feel like it set realistic expectations. So I mean, it would have been nice to catch a few more than what we did, but oh no, I thought it was a good day considering the morning actually did worse than us, which is because we only had an afternoon time slot and that kind of thing when we did the reschedule. But no, I thought it was great. We caught 8 fish total. Aiden caught got to reel in 4 of them. So it was a good time. And, we didn't catch anything super big, but we all got, a little salmon to take home. And I've had fresh salmon 2 nights in a row. So I'm not going to, complain about that. It was the first time I'd done it. First time I'd fished on the Great Lakes. Only the second time I'd ever went after salmon in any way, shape, or form. I'd done a similar type trip when I was at a conference out in Portland years ago on the Columbia. We had done a day, like me and some of the guys that I was at the conference with did a day with a captain out there. And that day I caught a Chinook in the first 2 minutes, 5 minutes of the trip. And then we never caught another fish. So this is definitely better than that in terms of just action. We were catching, like I said, cohos. But it was a good day. It was a very good day. So that was a lot of fun. It was nice to finally get that trip in. My dad caught a couple of fish. My sister caught a fish. It was good, and we had a good time. Like I said, I think Aiden had a blast, which was fun. I don't know. We'll probably try to do that trip again. Dad and I like to do different trips, so we've done a bunch of different things over the years. Not as many as we'd like, but we've done a bunch of different style fish. Like the previous one we went to Arkansas and went after stripers, and we'd done a trip at Key West, and we'd done a trip to Canada for walleye and stuff. And we've done, so we've tried to mix in some other stuff. Hang on one second. I figured you guys didn't want to see or hear me sneeze, and it took a second, but yeah. So, nice, very cool, very cool. I've never really done much fly fishing. I did a little bit. I've messed with it, but I'm not much of a fly fisherman. But yeah, so it was a good time. It was, like I said, I think my nephew had a blast. Not as much as he did yesterday. I think he had more fun yesterday doing just the thing. So that was Friday, and then yesterday, my dad and I, since we were up there, we helped my sister. They expanded their driveway area so they had enough room for a basketball hoop because my nephew's decided he's a big he wants to play basketball. He's a big fan of basketball, and so we got him a new. They had a little hoop that was on one of those little weighted things. They just sit in one spot, but they'd expand it. We set a post, concrete, everything. They'd already poured the concrete. We just put the post and the hoop up, and then we spent all afternoon and evening playing basketball. So I could barely move. Fat, out of shape, even playing against the 10-year-old, and then his cousin came over, and then his uncle from the other side came over, and then my sister played for a little bit. Yeah, and my feet were sore, my legs were sore, my arms were sore. I was wimpy. I've never done the fly-in thing. We drove up to a lake and rented a boat the time we went up there and did some walleye and pike and had a good time. It was a blast, but we haven't done that since. I kind of would like to do that one again, but I also like enjoying doing different things and getting different experiences. So that's always you got to balance what you can actually afford to do. So we are way off what I picked up this week, but what I picked up this week was coho. So got a little bit, just enough. We got to eat some already. Got a little bit to put in the freezer. So yeah, it was fun. Fly over every 2 days, make sure you're still alive. Yeah. Your new father-in-law, that was I bet that was key. So, but it was a fun trip. Had a blast, and yeah, hopefully we'll figure out something fun to do next time. I don't know. He's wanting to come down and just go fishing with us. He's come down and fished my dad has a pond and that kind of stuff, and they went fishing over there by where my folks live. They've never come all the way to my house, mainly because I don't really have room for everybody. But come all the way to my house and went on Truman out here and went for big catfish. He wants to do that. So, hey, Planet, what is going on? Very cool. That's awesome that your kid graduated. I can't hardly talk tonight. Congratulations to him and to you. So, or her, I guess you said my kid. So, yeah. Been dropped off the plane. Yeah. So, but yeah. So that was my big pickup of the week. Was we got to do a little fishing. I only caught one fish. The nice thing is we only missed. We caught 8. We only missed 2. I missed the first one, and then Aiden missed one. Like had it most of the way back to the boat, and it got off. And then the very next fish, Aiden was trying to reel in and got off. But it was he didn't feel bad about it or anything because he was like, I was the jinx that caused us to miss fish. And then got back on track later, and then it was good. So he's a he. There you go. Well, congratulations to him. Yeah, that's like my dad's. That's my dad's. Bluegill, crappie, bass, catfish. Yep. They're like 6 other people. So here it's safety in numbers. Safety in numbers. There you go. All right. So, but yeah, it was a good time. So we will. All right. What else we got? Whatever we're reading. I haven't really read much. I read Sandman Volume 9, but we will talk about that sometime in the next few weeks. Last minute, we had a person have to cancel on one of our Sandman crew had to call it last week. So one of the reasons I've only done one season 4 episode of the indie show. So I don't know when we're going to get back to Sandman. I might give me a chance to reread parts of that. But like I said, we're getting ready to read this. And I really had gotten through, I think, all but 2. Well, I've gotten through. I don't have much in my pile over here of comics, but I didn't get to any of them this week. So we don't really have anything reading that we did read this week to discuss. So we will move off of that and go. What else we got? I guess we're doing whatever we're watching. So if you couldn't guess from a thumbnail, we're going to talk a little Ted Lasso for a minute. We have 1 episode left, so maybe I should put up here. I don't know if anybody really worries about spoilers for Ted Lasso. Maybe, just in case. I guess I should be kind and Put that up there. I don't know that I'm really going to spoil a whole lot, but I am going to talk a little bit about the show. Talked about the shows several times before. I love Ted Lasso. I think it's just a fantastic show. It's not a perfect show, but it is a fantastic show. Obviously, we have the big cliffhanger here at. He doesn't get Apple TV, so I'm at it. Ted Lasso is worth it for a month. Once it's finished, you should, the $5.99 or whatever for a month, and then cancel. It's worth it. So we got to the final episode. Obviously, we had the big cliffhanger of what he tells her at the end, but we all know what he's telling her. And I've known all along where this was going because they said all along that it was a 3-season arc. It makes sense. The question at the beginning of the season was a lot of, why is he still there when he was sending, and you start the season with his son having come visit and him sending him home. And yeah, we all know where this is going, but the journey has been fantastic. I'm going to be sad when the show is gone. I don't think we're going to get any sort of extension. I know they've been dancing around, a season 4, blah, 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 because everybody asked them about season 4. Everybody asked them, but part of me hopes they don't. As much as I love the show, as much as I would love for them to keep going, tell your story and move on. Don't linger and lessen the story that you're telling, right? And at least that's my opinion on it. So yeah, I think we all know what's going to happen in the finale. I'm looking forward to it. A little quibbles with where we're at. Get those out of the way. I feel like we're missing an episode this season. The jump from episode 9 to episode 10 on where Nate is at wasn't completely earned. Like, we see the one incident where he finally starts to say no to Rupert, and then he just quit. And I feel like that's not completely, so that wasn't completely, his shift to where he's at wasn't completely earned. I do like that he's starting to make amends. Most of my problems this season are with a little bit with the Nate storyline, just in the fact that I feel like it's been a little rushed to get where we all knew it was going. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's best to know when to get out, for sure. And I think they are. I think they're going to. I don't think they're going to make any more. Which is sad because I would love for them to just keep going. It's such a wonderful, uplifting story. It deals with a lot of stuff, a lot of life stuff, real life stuff. And the characters are amazing. And, I will say, so I feel like we missed an episode on Nate. Like I said, the jump from the end of 9 to the start of 10 was too big a leap for me, like just storytelling wise. I feel like we needed a little more of him resisting what was going on. And then the players coming to him didn't feel earned. Because the last we've seen them with him was they hated him. They were super angry, mad. I feel like we needed the rematch to deal with some of this, to get him to where he needed to be and to make sense for where everyone else is. I will say we all knew, and obviously we haven't seen it yet. We all know Ted was always going to forgive him for everything he did wrong, like the way he behaved. Nate still has to apologize. If we don't get a full out apology, first thing, then I have problems with that, for sure. Let's see who aggressively is in here. What is going on? Yeah, I mean, I still love it. I just feel like I said, I feel like he made a choice to start to redeem himself, like to get back on the path. And you could see it was coming all season. Like he felt bad about the way he behaved. And then he made the choice, but we didn't get to see enough between. I feel like we needed just another episode, even just one more episode that's partially him in there that would have helped tell that story. I feel like we're missing about 4 or 5 scenes with Nate that would have really helped make that story cleaner, that arc cleaner. But we'll see where it goes in the finale. I mean, I think we all know. I mean, I can make my predictions. My predictions are Ted is leaving after the season to go home and be with his son, to be closer, which I think we all knew was going to happen. I think Nate's return is going to set up Nate taking over as the manager of Richmond, which again, both feels right and wrong. Like, I feel like he needs to like the one person that we saw get the arc to forgive Nate, that we always knew Ted was just going to do it, was Beard. But the fact that like everyone else was just okay with it at the start of the last episode bothered me, because he had not done enough yet to earn that from everyone else. Like, he wasn't going to have to do anything other than apologize to earn it from Ted, and maybe not even Ted wouldn't even probably make him say it. But he hadn't earned it from everyone else yet. Like, so that's just their quibbles. I want to see the mystery man from Amsterdam and show up in the box with Rebecca. Come on, it's got to happen. But yeah, and my assumption is, based on the way it's set up, they're going to win the final match, but they're not going to win the league. But which is enough to let them play Champions League, and yeah, so. They make a make-believe American team that Ted takes the job from. I mean, that's what they could continue it back here, him bringing the game back here. It just won't be the same. It's not going to be, no matter how they do it, it's not going to be the same. So what I'd love to see them do is find another project that they love, right? And just give us something else. But it'll never be Ted Lasso, and that's okay. But I'm super excited about the finale. I plan to probably, as soon as I watch the finale, I was going to, and I didn't get it done. I was going to rewatch seasons 1 and 2 before season 3 started. I didn't get it done, but my plan is probably just to start binging the whole thing from the beginning once we get the finale. So, all right. 23 minutes in. I've already talked Ted Lasso. I've already talked what I picked up, because I didn't pick anything up. I've talked what's coming up on the channel, which is, I talked about what I was drinking, which I'm just kind of sitting here mostly. What else? What else is on my list here? Yeah, I think we're ready for whatever you guys want to talk about at this point. So we may, like I said, I thought beforehand this one might be a little slow or a little shorter than normal, just because I didn't have that much. I didn't have a ton of stuff to talk about. You may have a different syndrome tonight. Yeah. So we may wrap this up at like 30 minutes, which I'm okay with. I just wanted to do it a little bit just because, get it in kind of thing. I like to touch base with you guys. I like to do my weekly check-in for sure. And yeah. So what else? What else is going on? Anybody got fun subjects, fun things they'd like to hear about? I am, very much in this weird place at the moment where I am, because for life reasons, I have sort of been forced in 2023 to take a massive step back from collecting. I just have. And so it's interesting, because I really haven't bought anything. I really haven't added anything to collection other than a few new books, and I've been constantly cutting back on that. I really haven't even ordered very many trades because for the same sort of reason. And I've been kind of evaluating, and it's interesting the things I still look at to potentially pick up. And it is kind of changed a little bit. I mean, obviously, there's some things that are on my want list that are still there, but there's a lot of stuff that I just kind of ignore. I found myself mostly like when I'm looking because I know I can't buy right now. I find myself more often than not looking at like art than comics in terms of what it would cost me. Next week's Phoenix Comic Con. Shatner, Grant Gustin, Paul Bettany, Jim Lincoln. It'll be a good time. Nice. Um, yeah. I mean, mine's been a little bit forced, but it has allowed me to kind of reevaluate. And I find myself looking at art most of the time and things I'd like to pull the trigger on there. There are a few things I find myself spending a lot of time looking at Golden Age Wonder Woman stuff like Sensations. That's the thing. That's the one thing I probably consistently actually look at in terms of where they're going and what thing. And most of them are way out of my price range. And it's just like, but I find myself looking at a lot of that stuff. I mean, and then the Hawkman 4, I look at that quite a bit, but Rent is too damn high. Well, I own. So I own this thing. And yeah, then the rent on putting a new roof on it was high. The problem. But then I've had other expenses on top of that as well. Luckily, the nice thing about the fishing trip this week, because my sister and I covered that whole thing, and because it was part of my dad's birthday for last year, because we were supposed to do it last summer. The nice thing about that was I had all that money set aside last August, sitting there, and I just left it sit there. I had it in a separate spot where I knew where it was, and it just sat. And so the fishing trip, thankfully, if I'd been trying to fund it out of this spring, would have been hard. Thankfully, it was already funded, so that was a nice thing that I had for sure. But yeah, so I've been, it's been interesting. I don't know where I'm gonna go when I actually start getting funds back. I got a few things. There's definitely a few things on my want list that I'd like to finish out. But yeah, it's liable to be a fairly substantial shift, I think. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's liable to be a fairly substantial shift. Yeah. Well, the price gouging on renting right now is just insane. It's insane. Like the affordability of housing in this. There's lots of things in this country that are insane. I'm not going to go into that because that leads too close to politics, and I don't want to discuss it because it just makes me mad. But yeah. But definitely, no, I don't regret owning, but it's just been, this spring has been an expensive one who am I kidding? Every year is an expensive one for being a homeowner. There's always something. So, but that's okay. When the time comes, I will have something to put towards something else, though, unlike with renting. And that's the main thing is you've built equity that you can put towards something else when the time comes, as opposed to renting where you don't build any equity. You build it for somebody else. Yeah, there's always something. That is correct. There is. It's definitely always something. So we'll see. We will see. I'm also thinking about, at some point I got to get back on the indie show again. I really do want to, I started back with that this year. I really do want to be consistent with it. The last month plus with stuff that went on personally and some other stuff caused me to not be able to really focus on that. I've had trouble just getting the look back cranked out. Let's be honest. And there's been a couple weekends where I skipped Cash or Trash, and it's been, the channel is here, and I love doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. But I can tell you that knowing where some things that are going to happen probably this year, that there's probably going to be some periods where I step away for short periods during this the next several months. Don't know when that's going to happen, and hopefully don't know how long it'll take. But yeah, I actually think I'm getting close to that right now. Is really like refocusing and like all these boxes behind me, really thinning the herd on some of that stuff. And focusing on some of the books I really, really want. And yeah, it's not that my collection is huge, but nice. Trade up into something. There you go. Yeah, I get that. I mean, my house is both bigger than I need and not. I mean, it's just me. It is 3-bedroom. It is, but my folks come to visit. I use one of the bedrooms as an office, although I'm trying to move that to the basement. The basement's half the basement is a garage, and then the other half is like laundry room and some was semi unfinished spaces that I've been trying to finish to move that my office down there and then turn like this into another place so my sister and them can come visit and I can accommodate everybody. So I do like having the amount of space, but the problem is I fill it. And that's where I would like to, I wouldn't mind downsizing a little bit because I do have a tendency to fill the space that I have with crap and too much of it. So, for sure. But we'll see. I don't know where things are going to go. There's Perry coming in. You're only 30 minutes late, Perry, but tonight that may be almost the whole show because I didn't have much tonight, and I'm honestly a little bit tired. Yeah, prices are insane. Well, you got to be able to get really good money for yours. That's the thing is everybody's like, oh, you can sell right now. You can get really good money for your place. Yes, but that same inflation, that same cost increase is going to go to whatever you then try to buy. So it's, you don't really gain, particularly if you're moving from a place that's maybe slightly lower desirability to slightly higher desirability. You're really going to suffer. So yeah. There you go. Am I drinking a Mai Tai? No. So wasn't really in like I wanted to drink, but I didn't really want straight bourbon tonight, I'll be honest. And so I had some raspberry lemonade, like the real lemonade stuff, the pre-made stuff that you can buy. So I had some of that, and I just went in there and got the bourbon that I've tried that I like the least the entire time I've been drinking bourbon the last year or so. And I bought a bottle of Long Branch. It's freaking awful. I don't like it. So I put a little bit of that in there with my lemonade to make a whiskey sour. And so I spiked my lemonade a little bit, but yeah, it's mostly just lemonade. It is a fruity drink. Yes, I am fruity drinking it tonight. Absolutely. I don't mind a fruity drink occasionally. I will fully admit I am not I am equal opportunity. So, this sounds a little morbid. Yes. So, and if you have the same plan, yeah. It does sound a little morbid. But I'll be honest. At this stage, I went for so one of the other things that happened this spring is I don't know. I think I've told you guys, but I went for a promotion. I didn't get it. I mean, there'll be a couple more opportunities where I can move up before I retire, but at this point, I can retire early. Well, I'll have it's 80 and out. I will be 53 when I reach 80 and out. So my plan is relatively quickly after that is to retire and then go somewhere else, earn a second pension. Um, it won't be here. So at this point, I expect I'm going to be here till I retire from my current job. And yeah, it won't be, I will not stay in this community. And I will either get closer to where my folks are, depending on what condition they are in, or I'll get closer to my sister or something. But I will not retire here. So this is probably maximum the next 10 years, and then I'm gone. And yeah, maybe sooner. We'll see. So yeah, I don't know what I'll do, but it won't be this place. that I know. Not that it's a bad house, not that it's a bad community, but it's not where I want to be long term. I mean, I've been here. I say that I've been in the house for 15. I've been in the community for 20 this fall. This fall will be 20 years since I moved here. The house I've already been in for 15 years. That was back in the spring, or 15 or 16. No, I forget. So I have been here long term, but old age is not retirement and that kind of stuff. This is not where I want to be. Yeah, I totally get that. I do. Those are all things to consider. Now, where my mom and dad are will be a big factor when that comes up. What's going on with them will be a huge factor when that decision gets made. So, yeah. So, yeah, what's going on with my parents will be a massive factor in where I end up, for sure. So, at least initially, upon, and also, I'll have to find something else to do. Something. I don't know what it'll be, but I'll have to find something else to do. Because I won't be able to retire. I'll have to, I'll have to get a little. There'll have to be income still coming in because my retirement is not going to be that good. I know. So, all right, gang. I still managed to make it 40 minutes. Unless you guys got something else specific, I'll give you a minute or so that you guys want to ask me or want to talk about. It's your ask me anything chance, I guess. I call it whatever you guys want to talk about, but it's really like an ask me anything. Yeah. So unless you guys come up with something that sucks me back in, I'm probably gonna call it quits and go to bed. I drove back from Chicago today, so that was 8 hours. Ooh, the hard-hitting questions from Joy Bag 7s. That's a tough one. For a long time, it was Harley, but now I think it's Ivy. I think that's been for a while now. Like coming off Batman the animated series and some other stuff, and I'm still a huge Harley fan, especially when she's written well. I do think she's more in. They're both very inconsistently written, depending on what you read sometimes. But I do think ultimately Ivy is the better character. She's the more, for me, she's the more interesting character. So yeah. I pre-ordered through 26. And that's the last issue of ASM until Zeb Wells goes off the book that I will purchase. I pre-ordered it before, a couple months ago, before I finally gave up. And so that's my last one. I'm a scoundrel. Probably. Uh, yeah, I get that. There's a little overload. I also feel like at times there's too much of crazy fourth wall weird. There's too much weird Harley, I think, at times. Like I love things like Harleen and uh Batman the White Knight, and where they portray her, and even like, and I get she's very zany, crazy in the TV show, but I love when they do a better job of balancing her intelligence with the fact that she's messed up, and rather than they just make her zany Looney Tunes. Like I don't like completely Looney Tunes Harley. And I think that's where some of it is. Like I love some of the stuff with Tinian's run, like the Joker War stuff, where she was involved and that kind of stuff. I thought that was really, really, really well done. And but like you read her own book at times, and it's just Looney Tunes, and it, yeah. And I think Ivy's a more, and also being someone who works in conservation, works in, my job is about like working to try to protect the environment a little bit. Like, I mean, I work for state conservation agency. I work on rivers and streams. Our job is to try to do things to help the streams and help that survive. So Ivy just meshes with me a little better, I think, ultimately. Like I see her perspective. So even if she goes too far with it, but I see it. Who that I haven't met? Boy, that's changed over the years. My dog's starting to stir. I'm going to go here pretty quickly. There's too many different versions. Yeah, that was really good. Well, I am not, but I will support those. I support anybody who's being authentic to themselves, and I have no problem with anyone who you love, and as long as like we need more love in the world, not less. And if that's, and so yeah, and I have important people to me that are, and of course I support them and love them. And so yes, I guess I'm celebrating. I don't know that I celebrate, but I support. Yeah. So there you go. One last question. Who would I meet? That I have not met. Who would it be? I'm just trying to like look behind me. Like I've met Frisbee multiple times. She's obviously like my favorite artist at the moment. That's a good question. Who would it be? Just one. I'm trying to pick just one. I don't know. I'm in overload at the moment. Given who I've met, who I haven't. Tom Taylor, my Nightwing writer at the moment. I'm loving that series. I loved his all new Wolverine. I loved his Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Gosh, I wish he was still writing that book. Yeah, that's my guy right now. If I had to meet one comic person I haven't had a chance to meet, that is it. So, yes, I'm an ally. There you go. Very much so. So yeah, I have, like I said, I have people important to me that are part of that community, and they're wonderful people. And I think this whole backlash that we have going right now is stupid. And I would hope we were beyond that kind of stuff at this point. Because I can tell you, they're not grooming anybody. They just want to live their life. So Adam Hughes would be cool. I mean, because originally this was supposed to get signed by him and Slab, because he was supposed to be at Kansas City the year of COVID. So, depends on what kind of conditions it's in. And yeah, so all right. With that, my dog I can hear him. He's stirring and whining, and he's had, yeah. So I'm gonna go. You guys are awesome. Well, I realize, I mean, like, but how nice is it? And We're out. Later, everybody.